Hello everybody and welcome back to RainBro Crafts. My name is Colton and today I will be making for you the second soap in our Tiny Terrazzo collection. This soap, like the title suggests, is called Bramble Berry and it is a soap scented with the fragrance also called Bramble Berry from the soap supplier company Bramble Berry. It is a really lovely scent of some berry notes, raspberry, blackberry with some bergamot, some nice delicate florals. But what I love about this scent in particular is it has base notes of some like fragrant woods. So it really kind of takes it from a sweet place to more of like a nature-y, kind of like sophisticated fragrance. I'm obsessed with it. We had this in a limited collection a couple months back and it sold out super quickly. So when we were coming up with this Tiny Terrazzo collection, we knew we had to utilize it. It is Bramble Berry's namesake fragrance oil, and I definitely understand why. The thing I don't understand is why it took us literally 4 years before we've actually used this scent. We've been using Bramble Berry, like I mentioned in our last video, the fresh aloe and white lily video, and I'll put a card up in the corner if you haven't watched that. But we've been using Bramble Berry since we started making soap. It's how we started making soap. It's how we learned how to do what we are doing now. But when I used this in a kit that I got, I was like, how have we not used this before? Why have we not used this before? Because it is exactly what our customers like. It also behaves beautifully. The scent is in the soap. It's very nice. So definitely use this or check this soap out if that sounds like a good idea to you. So if you watched our video, or I guess if you didn't watch our video last week, our Tiny Terrazzo collection, I was inspired by these soap cuts, the end cuts that we used, and we've just had them on the shelf for like a year. Some of these have been on there for like a year. And when I was developing this miniature collection, I thought, well, it would be cool if we use those soap cuts, end cuts, to add to our soap, kind of like our path soaps, like our Spill the Tea soap and our Pink Pony Club soap. If we did that, but we chunked them up a little bit so they're a little bigger, and also we picked colors that matched the soap that we're making. So for the Bramble Berry soap, it's purple, as you can see. So I went through and I hand selected soap scraps that were also in the purple color story. So purpley, lavendery colors, which thankfully we had a good amount of because we've had our lavender haze soap, our lavender soap. We've had some other purple soaps as well. I did put a little blue in there just because it's kind of in the same storyline. And so I stirred that into the bottom layer of soap. I did let this set up for a little bit, go back in with my stirrer, and just kind of reincorporate those chunks. This fragrance oil was really working well with the soap batter, and it did not cause it to set up more quickly than I was expecting, which was really nice. Also, because it was a little hot, I think, it just took a long time for my soap batter to get to where I needed it to go. So I have those in the molds. They're setting up a little bit. The Tiny Terrazzo collection also is a double layered soap. So for the top layer, for this one, I'm going with a lighter purple color. And you might be asking yourself, Colton, why is that brown, the soap batter? And I was asking myself that same exact question. So I went in, I actually go in 2 times total with more purple colorant. I was thinking the purple mica I added would turn this a little more purple than it actually did, and I just wasn't happy with it. This is a nice kind of like mauve color, like a soft purple. It looks more gray on camera than what it actually looks like in person, and I do feel like this fragrance oil discolored a teeny tiny bit to like a lighter purple, and I might just be imagining that because the listing on the Bramble Berry website says there's no discoloration, and I trust their specific like fragrance specifications they post on their website. But it definitely, all in all, looks nice and purpley with the bottom layer, especially when this is cut, and you'll see that here in a minute. So I've divided up the soap batter evenly amongst the 2 slabs there. The nice thing when you're making a double batch of soap is you can get really nice clean lines without additional calculation, because we love a nice easy hack that does not require any additional calculations. And I mean calculations because you can do this similar technique and weigh out your lye water and your oils and stuff, like divide them up amongst the batches you want to make and do like smaller batches for each slab. But if you're doing 2 layers, it's really easy to just divide it up evenly amongst the 2, make a second batch, and then do the same thing. Once I've had that soap batter poured over those, poured into those slab molds, I've gone in with a purple shift mica. So it kind of looks a little whitish with a really pretty violet shift. And you can kind of see that shift as I'm using my bar spoon there to do those big kind of looks like a river or like a worm or something like that. I wanted to go very kind of abstract. A terrazzo tile in my mind is very kind of organic looking in a house that probably has those like weird like hip mirrors that have kind of like waves around them, or like a weird vase that actually isn't a vase, it's just like an arch or something like that. That's what I was imagining when I was making this specific batch of soap up, and I think I got the point across. Also kind of a little bit sad beige child territory with like abstract shapes, not a ton of color, was what I was going for here. The soap overall is super colorful, especially because we have the lovely kind of big chunks of soap in that bottom layer of that more vibrant purple color. I am going back in with my soap spoon there to kind of pull some of the soap that bunched up on the back side of the mold to kind of reincorporate that so it's a little more even and I don't have weird like big chunks of soap in the end cuts when I do that. While we do cut off most of that in the bar cutting process, I wanted it to be as nice and like uniform as possible. I will then spritz this with some rubbing alcohol, put the wooden lids on, tuck it away for 24 hours, and then Zac is going to break this slab down into loaves and then break those loaves down into bars. Now, similar to the fresh aloe soap that I made last week, I wanted to make sure that the chunks of soap didn't fall all the way to the bottom of the bottom layer of soap. So, and I mentioned this a little earlier, I did go back in and stir the base layer before I added in that lighter purple color, just to make sure that those soap chunks were well suspended, evenly suspended in that bottom layer of soap. I wanted to do this with this one in particular because it took a while for that soap to get to the consistency I wanted, and it worked just fine. And it did exactly what I was wanting, so I'm super, super happy with how that turned out. I really, and you might have noticed this, and you'll notice it with our Halloween collection as well, we've been doing like the same technique, but changing up the colorways for our collection. So the Tiny Terrazzo collection is all very similar techniques, and our Halloween collection is a very similar technique. And our Pride collection also was a very similar technique. So you'll probably see a lot of like similar techniques but different colorways. It's very cohesive and that's very pleasing to me. So while Zac is slicing up this soap, I'm going to ask the question of the week. And that question of the week is courtesy of a washington.edu website I found. That's where the last question came from. The question this week is, or for this video is, what is your favorite comfort food? Mine would probably be like something with mashed potatoes. We make very often a vegan version of a KFC famous bowl. So mashed potatoes, gravy, vegan like chicken nuggets, and then corn and some vegan cheese as well. So not healthy at all, but very like comforting and warm, especially in the winter months. Maybe not when it's 90 degrees outside. It's super cozy. So share in the comment section down below what your favorite comfort food is. I would love to hear it. But that is it. This is our Bramble Berry Tiny Terrazzo soap, which along with all of our other Tiny Terrazzo soap collection will be for sale starting September 1st, online and in person, at about 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. This collection was super fun, and I expect it to sell out very, very quickly, so grab yours if you are interested. I want to give a big shout out to our subscribers. They get soaps, candles, bath bombs each and every month sent from us to you as a thank you, so check out our website, rainbowcrafts.com, on how to become a member of that elite group. I want to give a huge shout out to James P. They are the newest foamy homie. They are joining this fine group of people that just scrolled across the screen. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like this video, comment down below what your favorite comfort food is. Also subscribe to the channel and ring that bell icon. Thanks. Bye.